Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is B, and today we're doing a little review of The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen. I read this book. I think it was the last book I read of 2019, and is the first review of this channel. Yeah, but let's get into it. So before we begin, I will probably be doing a non-spoiler and then a spoiler section. I don't think this is going to be very long because I rated this book a 3-star, and the way my rating works is 1 stars are, abysmal, really just bad books. A 2-star would be something that is pretty bad, but has a thing or two that keeps you reading it. 3-star for me is just a fine book, a book that was lukewarm. I didn't overly enjoy it. I didn't hate it. And then a 4-star is a book that is pretty good and I would recommend it to others. And 5 stars are books that I just loved everything of. I love probably the characters, the plot, the setting, just every little bit of it. Yeah, so I rated The Merciful Crow a 3-star book, and let me tell you why. So first, of course, we're gonna talk about the characters. Our main trio consists of Fi, Tavin, and Jasimir is his name? Yes, Jasimir. Fi is the leader of a clan called she's not the leader yet, actually. She's the daughter of the leader of a clan of crows. She's preparing on becoming the chief later on, which is part of her drive in this book, is keeping them safe. She's a little bit serious. She's very much like a capable person. You can definitely tell that she knows what she's doing and she knows what she's about, which I really enjoyed. But she wasn't overtly, I don't want to say overtly assertive because that sounds pretty bad, but sometimes main characters, especially female characters, they focus so much on making them like so hot-headed and like being a baddie that they don't really actually make them smart. But this was a good balance. She's a pretty good main character. Then the 2 boys are Tavin, the prince's bodyguard, and Jasimir, the prince himself. Tavin was pretty funny. I liked him a lot as a character. He was very charismatic. I did like that he was a hawk. I don't know why. It's just when they told me, when the book introduced him as a hawk, I was like, yes, I love that for him. And Jasimir, I'm not gonna lie, I thought Jasimir was dead weight. For like 2/3 of the book, I was kind of like, just didn't care for him. Because Jasimir really, his whole thing was to start the plot. His whole character was to start the plot, is what it felt like. And that's not a bad thing at all. Sometimes it just happens. But there was just a distinct lack of interaction with him and the rest of the cast. I say the rest of the cast, but really it's just the rest of the clan. That I was just very meh about him to the very end. And even after reading the book, I'm very meh about him. I don't care. I should explain. So the plot of this book is basically that these 2 boys, Tavin and Jasimir, pretend that they have been taken by some plague that's going across the land. And as a crow, Fi and her clan, they come and they collect their bodies and are supposed to go and burn them by rights or whatever. But come to find out, the 2 boys are actually alive, and they staged this whole thing to get away from Jasimir's mother, who I believe is planning on taking over the throne, basically. And Jasimir's trying to stop that from happening because she's evil. Within all of these, they also have a caste system. It's a little bit of a caste system made up of clans where the Phoenix clan is the top and the Crow clan is the bottom. And then in the middle are like the Peacock, Swan, and Dove classes. The Hawk, Crane, Owl, and Vulture classes. I didn't realize there was 4. And then on the bottom, but still above the Crows, is Gull, Pigeon, and Sparrow classes. And they all have their own birthrights and things like that, except for the Crows, who have none. Because they are just unliked by everybody. Literally everybody. Nobody likes the Crows. The Crows perform a pretty vital function in society, I would say, with the whole taking the dead and burning them so the infection doesn't spread because they're immune to this plague. But nobody likes them at all. They really, really hate these crows. And an interesting thing about that, still not a spoiler, I would say, is that so there's this group called the Oleanders, right, that the crows have to deal with constantly. They're just an ever-present frustration, and is actually part of the reason why Fi even offered to help the prince and the bodyguard in the first place, because she basically made it so that she made a pact. She made a pact with Jasmine where if they helped them, right, then Jasmine would give the crows protection from the Oleanders. And the Oleanders are a group, they're not actually like a specific rank. It's just anyone who dresses in white at night and goes to hunt down the crows and do whatever they want to them. Like they beat them, they steal their stuff. I think they might even, well, yeah, they do kill crows as a matter of fact. Anyone who just does that for fun, that's an Oleander. Now, reading the book, I was like, okay, yeah, cool, Oleanders. But it wasn't until they got to a town and talked to somebody, and then when sundown came, Fi recognized the mayor as one of the Oleanders, because just because he covered it, he like painted his face doesn't mean that he doesn't look the same. She recognized him from the town, under his like his hood or his whiteness or whatever, is when I actually looked up and I realized, wait a minute, is the Oleander thing an allegory for the KKK? And let me tell you, I was 2/3 of the way through the book by that point. I really had to like, I was like, because it wasn't that it was bad or anything. I mean, I don't really care. It's that, I don't know, I just didn't catch it and it just threw me off guard. Like it took me a minute really to recover. I didn't really care for it at all. It didn't matter to me. But I just thought it was kind of funny that I went through the book for so long and didn't even notice that the Oleanders struggle with the crows, or the crows struggle with the Oleanders, is basically black people, because they were black, but I don't think they're described as being brown skinned in here, being hunted by white riders at night, like, you know. But my other general thoughts about this, I thought Fi's romance with Tavin was pretty okay, actually. Like, I don't think they got together till the second or third act, and I keep saying acts because this actually is separated into like three different books in the novel. It was pretty good. I like Tavin, I like Fi, I like them together, they're pretty nice. I did think by the end though, some of the stuff that they were saying to each other was a little bit like, okay guys, you kind of only have known each other for maybe, I don't know, half a month. Are you really in love? It's not really a problem, but it's like, are you really in love though? My main critique, yes, I have two. The first is that Jasmine really could have done a lot more as a character. He didn't have any powers because of the way that the birthright thing works. I believe cast members can only use their birthrights in areas where their respective gods have died. So in this world, the old gods died a long time ago, and the places where they died are like places of power for their descendants. So phoenixes, for example, which is what Jasmine is, they can use their abilities on their homeland, but not anywhere else. So he's immune to fire anywhere he is, but he can't like summon flames or anything like that unless he's at home or something. Which, okay, I mean, that's fine. I just thought it was a little bit whack, because I was like, so he's just gonna be sitting here the whole time? And yes, he did. He just sat there the whole time up until the last act, where he became, well, he didn't become anything. He didn't do much. It's just that was really used to resolve his whole, his classism, his casteism, really, where he and Fi finally connected, and he was like, you know what? Maybe you do deserve rights. And that was fine. I'm gonna say fine a lot, I guess, because this book is a 3-star. It literally was fine. It was just fine. My second critique is that first two parts of the book are a little bit boring, especially compared to the last section. The last section, a lot of stuff happens in, and it doesn't feel rushed necessarily, but it does move a lot faster than the first two. So you basically have to slog through the first two parts of the book to really get to the last part and then enjoy that one. One thing I did really enjoy, though, before I get into my little spoiler section, one thing I really enjoyed was the caste system itself, or the class system. I'm not exactly sure what to call it. I really enjoyed the class system. I really liked how, well, I just liked the idea and the execution of it. I don't know, I just think it was neat. It was pretty good. I don't exactly remember all the birthrights, but I liked the way they work, especially the crows one. It made sense for the way the world was. You know what I mean? It was like, it was magic for the world itself and not just magic in a world, if that makes sense. I feel like it really fit her setting. And actually, speaking of setting, I feel like because of the fact that a lot of the story was traveling, her setting suffered a little bit because they were often on the road. So really, like, you can't describe what, like, being on the road super, like, in a really very detailed way. So a lot of the times it's just like, okay, they're on a road until they see something and then something happens. You know what I mean? But beyond that, yeah, I wouldn't say not to read it. I wouldn't say to buy it though. Like, my copy's a library copy right now, so I've got to return it, like, I think next week. So you can read it. I wouldn't recommend buying it. And there are more books in this series, but I probably won't read them because the way this ended, I'm fine. Everyone's safe. There's no real, like, cliffhanger. So you're not really worried about, like, what's gonna, like, you probably, I mean, you could be worried about what's gonna happen next. The whole situation that started this whole thing is not solved yet, but everyone is in a place where it's not gonna keep me up at night if I don't read the next book. So I won't. Anyways, into the spoiler section. The brother twist. So the third act, like I said, is it's pretty packed. There's a couple of things that happen. Tavin and Jasmer actually end up being half brothers. Tavin knew this the whole time. Jasmer did not. And I thought it was the way that she introduced this was very, very good. Because we went to the Hawk stronghold where Tavin's aunt is, I believe. Yes, his aunt. And no, his mother. Jasmir's aunt, actually, if you think about it. And there was just a whole bunch of hints that the author dropped that both you and Fi were trying to, like, put together, because you knew she was trying to say something, and then Fi gathered it towards the end and didn't even, how do I say this? So Fi figured it out and the author didn't tell us, which is fine, because there was a plot later on that Fi had cooked up with this information that she used to basically save her people, which I thought was pretty cool. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of times when authors focus on making their characters so, like, witty and sarcastic and, like, oh, like, I'm, like, the hot shit and all this other stuff, that they don't actually make their characters smart. And I feel like this was not the case in this book. Fi was actually pretty intelligent, especially in this last part. I really liked her dedication a lot to the plan. Now, going back, in section 1, so Hangdog, right? You know how he betrayed them? This is if you've read the book. If you haven't, well, okay. Hangdog betrayed the clan. I felt like his betrayal was a little bit telegraphed, because when they met up with him back in the city, in the market, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just me, but I don't know what it was. But something just about the way he was acting, like whatever he said to her right when they met up, I was like, he's going to do something extremely stupid and gonna cause problems for the entire rest of the book. And he did. And I was like, well,
I'm supposed to feel sorry for that bitch. I don't.
Sucks to suck, I guess. I don't know. I don't actually have much for this spoiler section, really. It's only about the third act. I don't have much to say about this book. It was written well, for sure. My conclusions are already in the earlier parts. This is actually pretty short. Wow. I kind of feel bad that I did a 3-star review for my first thing. There's nothing wrong with 3 stars. This was a decent book. I would recommend this to you if you want to read it. But I don't have much to say. I will for my next one, though. I'm thinking of reviewing Priest of Priest of Bone, because that one gave me a lot of emotions over the summer, and I need to talk about how this duology messed me up, just really upset me. So I might do that one next. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed my review. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.